We were wrong. Meghan didn't let go of Harry with the divorce ultimatum. Royal commentator Mr. Houston from page 6 has said that he doesn't believe that a divorce between Meghan and Harry is imminent, but he could be wrong. Well, we've all been discussing this very subject for quite a long time now, and this was the topic under thesis when so many of us were insistent that a divorce was coming soon and it was certainly unavoidable. Well, 24 months have passed since then, and where is the divorce? In the absence of hard evidence, it's simply assumption as well as a point of argument. But anyway, in spite of information and or intelligence from royal insiders or other valuable associate contacts, nobody really knows what's happening behind closed doors. We don't really know the status or the strength of Meghan and Harry's marriage. The only people who know that information would be Meghan and Harry themselves. Mr. Houston also said assumptions are mere conjecture without solid evidence. One could also call it presumption or opinions, and my opinion is that it is a hypothesis. Why? Because in my opinion, their wedlock is a subset of codependency, which is what keeps the mechanics of their nuptials ticking as well as in motion. Both Harry and Meghan Markle are dependent upon each other. The Duke is emotionally dependent on his wife. He is impassioned because he is impetuous as well as impulsive. He is weak and susceptible, whereas his Duchess is unemotional and apathetic, one who plays, inter alia, on his weakness as well as his very vulnerability. Meghan Markle is financially dependent on Harry for the money and the opulence that he can provide her. It feeds her ego, and it also encourages her arrogance in being the wife of a prince, and it also provides her with a really luxurious lifestyle. Mr. Houston also said true, a divorce would or may provide her with a very generous financial settlement that would see her more than comfortably through for the rest of her entire life, but even money has its very limitations and is never infinite, especially when you have an exorbitant spender who relishes extravagance. We've all been hearing about this $80 million for a very long time at this point, and $80 million is probably not inexhaustible for Meghan Markle, and it's also not going to last forever. People have won literally tens of millions in the national lottery, and they wasted all of it within no time at all. There are more than enough examples of this. It all comes down to extreme greed, and there's no greater example than Meghan Markle. A divorce would make Meghan redundant from royalty, and that would have a severe impact on her. That would also really bruise her ego and her self-pride. Why did she want to marry Harry in the first place? It definitely wasn't only the money and the luxurious lifestyle that her potential husband could provide her. It was also the titles and the affiliation with royalty that was equally attractive to Meghan. It was every little girl's fantasy, her own Cinderella story. The royal expert went on to say, while the prince is besotted with Meghan Markle, I don't believe that the feeling is mutual at all. She may profess to love her husband in public, but she doesn't love him per se. She just loves the glory, splendor, and prestige that a royal marriage provides. In Harry's case, the fact that he's so very smitten and spellbound with his intoxication is not very conducive to his well-being or his welfare at all. Every marriage has its ups and downs, and wedding bells are never a bed of roses, which is why a level of friction is also evident in their very own alliance. More often than not, the pair of actors very deliberately demonstrate erosion and agitation in order to attract attention from the media as well as the masses to keep us all writing about them. He also talked about the children. He said, I'm personally of the opinion that Archie is not the biological offspring of Meghan Markle. It is widely believed also by millions that he's the product of surrogacy. As for Lilibet Diana, many of us even doubt her very existence. I'm reserving judgment on this. I don't know, and it's really a matter of indifference to me. If Archie is indeed the child of a surrogate mother and the royal family knows about this for sure, then of course they are equally culpable in hushing it all up. In any event, irrespective of whether the children are both authentic or not, their hierarchy in the line of succession to the British monarchy is very much superfluous, as they are both 6th and 7th in line respectively at this very moment in time. It's true that William and George and Charlotte and Louis and Harry all supersede the both of them. Now, if we can think about the dynamics of all this, the probability of either Archie or Elizabeth ascending to the throne is incredibly remote. Statistically speaking, it's more likely that I'm going to win the jackpot lottery than see either of them crowned king or queen at Westminster Abbey. Because the only way that could possibly happen would be if, heaven forbid, the Prince of Wales and his entire family traveled together in an aircraft. Maybe they were going on vacation, and the worst disaster happened. And that would make Harry next in line. Well, as you can imagine, people wouldn't be so happy about that. I can only imagine the frenzy of the good British people. There would be quite the uproar, as there should be after everything that's happened, and it would really impact the future of the monarchy. Right now, Prince George is 10 years old. I mean, who knows that in another 10 years he could be married and he could have his own kid by then. Each and every successive child born to anyone in the Wales family is going to continue to push Archofficial and Elizabeth further and further down that list. Worst case scenario, if Archie or Lilibet were to become either king or queen, with such a controversial pregnancy, surely some kind of ratification would be necessary before to authenticate her royal birth. That would be such an embarrassment, so humiliating for Meghan and Harry if a surrogacy were actually involved. In conclusion, personally, I believe the marriage of Harry and Meghan is one of convenience for both of them. There's a lot of codependency upon each other, and this keeps it going. According to the royal commentator, a divorce or a separation is probably not going to happen before 2025, if that. Now, maybe we're wrong in this. As we've already said, this is our opinion only. Nobody has the ability to predict the future, of course. Meeting insiders or listening to royal commentators who claim to have knowledge of an upcoming divorce is really nothing at all. It's basically just presumption. In some ways, it would be a good thing if an annulment or a breakup is not in the cards anytime in the future. See, if Meghan and Harry do end up getting divorced, I'm sure that Prince Harry would try to come back home to the UK. And the truth of the matter is, most Brits do not want him back. We also gotta look at things from Meghan Markle's perspective. So just think about it. Would a divorce be more helpful to her personally, more beneficial than a loveless marriage, even if she were to get some big payoff in the divorce? Well, no. If I were Meghan, I would try my best to make the marriage last as long as possible, because in the long run, that is how Meghan's gonna make the most money for herself. Without a doubt, Meghan Markle is pretty good at destroying marriages and sending wedding rings back in the mail, so I think that she would be smart enough to recognize the merits of a marriage when she sees one, especially if it is a marriage to a royal prince. After all, the opportunity to connect oneself to the royal family doesn't really come along every day. Right now, Meghan Markle can enjoy the best of both worlds. She's got money, she's got prestige. Who would want to forego either advantage? Somebody as greedy as Meghan definitely wouldn't. So I kind of believe that maybe them continuing to live their lives as codependents together makes a lot of sense. Now, who is going to want to share a marital life with either one of them? They're always putting out this PR nonsense, and I'm not even going to try to recap all the BS put out, but the latest is that Meghan Markle is feeling stressed, and that the royal family is trying to save Harry. Should we believe any of this? Oh, you know we shouldn't. It's just more PR nonsense. And you, do you agree with me? Please tell me your opinion below in the comments. If you think my video is useful, don't be afraid to like and share it with anyone else who would enjoy it. And don't be afraid to click the subscribe button to get more updates in the future. Thank you so much for tuning in, have a lovely weekend, and we'll be back to see you all tomorrow.